coming back to our topic, you will see now, all of the people here will be presented with a coconut. You all have. You're going to see from beginning to end how this happens. All the people who are holding the coconut, you are not going to move it. You are not going to move your hand. You are not going to be moving your hand. You will keep it nice and stable, firm, straight. Here people have, the first level is moving the coconut on each other's hand. You will experience a beautiful completion with the person. See, if you feel that person is exactly like your mother-in-law, the coconut will not roll. It will take you time, and maybe even if it takes you 5 minutes or even 20 minutes, when it rolls, you will experience a very strong completion about what all you assumed about your mother-in-law, because you actually live through your relationships. You live in your relationships with people. All we will do is, just give me one. All we will do is, see, I've got a nice coconut in my hand. They will apply the divine knowledge eyeliner called the Nithyananda, which is a sacred alchemy product. An alchemy product, a spiritual alchemy product, is one which infuses consciousness into matter continuously, keeps you in the highest spiritual frequency. So when they apply it, it becomes the third eye of Swamiji. We are all ready? Just wait until I tell you to. You can all turn towards each other. Ready? Turn towards each other. All the people who are sitting behind, you can turn towards each other. You can become partners. Yes, Sanjeev, both of you can become partners. Now, just get ready. Just be ready. The pointy end of the coconut is always turned towards a person who's going to be moving it. And look at me. I'm keeping my hand stable and firm. I will neither move my hand this side or that side or any such thing. But the person who's going to move it off from my hand will just look at it with their third eye, experiencing oneness with Swamiji. If they move their head even little bit or just look at it, any command they give, fall left, fall right, it'll occur. It'll happen. Many times it'll even stand up vertically and fall behind. Now let us see this in action first. Are all of you ready? Those of you holding the coconut, you are going to be called Nithya. Those of you who are moving it now, you are going to be called Ananda. And both of you will take turns doing this. Yes? Shall we start? Nyanjana is already there. Shall we start? Are all of you ready? Amitesh, you both can become partners. Turn towards each other. Oh, you're already doing it. Fine. You can come to me. Come. Come, come, come. You can show one over here also. Because you're a person who has rolled Atmalinga also on the ground. Come. I want people to hear you. Ready? Please project it. You're already seeing coconuts rolling. Just remember Swamiji in the third eye. Keep your gaze on the Nyananjana. The person who's holding the coconut will very firmly be able to start sensing movement. The next stage of the Shakti is where you are able to roll the coconut on the ground or a solid object like an Atmalinga, a small Shivalinga that Swamiji presents to us. When you get initiated, that will be kept on a paper which is like a grid of 9 inches. And inner awakening participants will simply have fun playing with moving it from 1 inch to 3, from 3 to 6, or from 6 back to 1, or all the way from 1 to 9. It is an extraordinary power. Even if it takes a little bit of time to do, the effect on the person is immediate. Diseases that never wanted to leave your body will leave because your very cognition about you changes. What you are integrated towards changes. So the more time, let's say, if it is taking few seconds, for some people it'll just immediately fall. If it is taking something time, it does not mean the person is powerless, it just means little more time. And the more they just keep the gaze of their third eye on the coconut, experiencing oneness with Swamiji, physical matter listens to you. It listens to consciousness that you have become. You can keep on doing it rapidly, keep changing hands, keep doing it rapidly. And let's be very integrated to not moving the hand. There are people who have experienced beautiful relationship completion and healing just because they are able to move the coconut or a solid object of each other. Just look, I'm not moving my hand at all. If you want, you can even hold the hand. See how it's rolling slowly, steadily, without me moving my hand at all. And it will just represent the part of you which you are willing to give up, willing to let it go, but with some time, that's all. Teetering on the edge. And there we go. That's great. Good. Amitesh, it is not joke to come in front of Swamiji directly and do this. And I actually wanted to tell all, you can turn towards them. Amitesh is one of the people who's, see, we will have a grid, a white sheet, from 1 to 9 inches you will have. And Amitesh is Atmalinga, a solid small Shivalinga which is kept on the ground without interference from the hand. Why don't you share the experience of you being able to move it? What occurred in you at that time?
Yeah, definitely. So that was the first experience I had during this inner awakening that actually made a big shift in my cognition. So basically, I came here with a lot of doubts. I didn't know about the program. I didn't know a lot about Swamiji. So I came here with a lot of doubts, and I kept on, I kept on trying things. I even, went ahead and told Swamiji about that I'm having a lot of doubts. Can you please help me remove those doubts as well? But the moment when I told Swamiji, it actually didn't work that way. The very next day, if I had 10 doubts earlier, the next day I had 100 doubts. So it actually blasted off right away. So at one point of time, I was even thinking I shouldn't have gone to Swamiji and told about it. But slowly and slowly, it, when let me also tell you that I'm purely from a science background. I'm an IT Bombay graduate, and I'm currently in Delhi doing, we have a business there. I'm a CEO and MD of a popular startup in Delhi. So we enjoy a lot of media coverage also. But so mostly I come from a science background, and I didn't have any, I wasn't much into spirituality or faith. So it was very new experience for me, and I was really having a lot of doubts and finding it hard to come over it. But that day, during that Shakti manifestation session, I had I had a Atmalinga kept in front of me, and I had to I was just looking at it. I was having small talks with Swamiji, and and all of a sudden I started feeling strange sort of oneness with the Atmalinga, with the whole cosmos. I saw a white aura around the Atmalinga, and it started, all of a sudden it started moving towards me. 5-6 inches, it just rolled towards me, and I knew at that moment no Newton, no Einstein is gonna explain this phenomenon to me. That was really a great experience for me. So yeah. Thank you.
During the power manifestation, it really, what you undergo at that point, how many thousands of shifts. See, one Atmalinga rolls there, or a coconut rolls, but inside you, it's like 10,000 clicks are happening about life. and about
definitely,
yourself.
I wasn't expecting any such thing to happen all of a sudden.
And I
It's
remember
like
I was
blast
eyewitness for
inside
this.
me. I mean, yeah, you were there.
It just moved, zoom. I was like thinking, what is this, like a Ferrari it is going.
Seriously.
And see, that is the reason. So fast, either you've got to put a camera on it all throughout just to capture that moment. Otherwise, even you are so surprised that like, oh my God, look what happened. And when that moves, it means you can move anything with the power of the oneness you experience. It is not the power that moves things, it is a oneness that has power over anything. Good, please go be seated. I want to thank all of the audience volunteers who have come here for your time and for your patience, because you sat for all three Shaktis. You can all go and be seated now. And I want us to get ready. Thank you so much. I wanted to say this. When they're coming and sharing, right now we're even going to start out. I want each of the power manifestors to casually pick up the mic and start sharing. Take a minute, introduce yourself, and just start sharing how our life has changed because of manifesting the Shaktis of Sadhashiva. Because it's your parents, when you started growing, they sent you to school because they believed in a certain culture of school education. Then after that you get married, and then after that you do 100 things, and then you ended up in an asylum. Anyways, but through all the people who are seated here, they are parents, they are doctors, they are kids. But through the manifesting of Shaktis, how do they feel life is changing for them and those around them? Let us hear that. And that will be the culmination of the glimpses of inner awakening. We can get started with the men first. Please go ahead.
Nithyananda. So I'm Anurag, I'm an engineer, I'm working in Switzerland. The biggest shift which happened in me was, we are being told always to practice, prepare, be serious, work hard. And here, when Swamiji initiated us into consciousness or matter or the depth dimension, then within 5 minutes, we were just able to move the coconut playfully without any seriousness or without any hard work. It just happened like that. And that's the biggest shift which happened when preparing, trying, practicing versus manifesting. Thank you, Nithyananda.
Nithyanandam. My name is Peter. I'm from Los Angeles and I'm a doctor. And I'm going to talk about materialization. So this isn't my first inner awakening. And before I had the experience of cracking the coconut very loudly. And that affected me in a really huge way after I came back. I could never think of myself in the same way, knowing that my consciousness and my oneness with Swamiji could have that effect on matter. But I really wanted to materialize. So to do materialization in an inner awakening to me is amazing, because that's usually something that should be 30 years in the Himalayas or whatever. So anyway, Mahayoga had us doing it anyways. And the second time we did it, there were times we hold our hand like a garba, like a womb, and just get into that space of oneness. And there was a few times I got into that space of really feeling the oneness with Swamiji and really feeling the bliss that comes from that. And every time I did that, I felt a tingling in my hands. And it was hard to maintain it, and sometimes, but as much as I could maintain it, the more the tingling would happen. And then at the end, we opened our hands, and sometimes we materialized little specks that were clearly not there before, and they're clearly something, but they're not necessarily anything you want to document, because they're just so tiny. But I looked and I saw some things that really looked like vibhuti, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't from outside, or I hadn't touched my bag or something like that. And I asked Mahayoga, and she said, yes, this is real vibhuti. And then I kept my hand like that for several minutes, and a few minutes later I looked again, And at first it had been just a couple of specks, and then when I looked again, it was like substantially more, maybe double had materialized. Just in a couple of minutes, my hand had already been open, I'd already been looking at it. So it was like the effect takes time to kick in. So this time I said to myself, I knew this is very real. I really materialized vibhuti matter out of the ethers through the power of oneness with Swamiji. And as a Western doctor trained in various laws of physics and all of that, I can say it's quite a shift is happening inside of me. And I know when I go home, this shift will stay with me. And I'm just so blessed and excited to be part of this with Swamiji, where these types of miracles can happen. And we can all become superhumans, as they say.
Nithyananda. My name is Jean. I come from Montreal, Canada. I'm a finance executive. I come from a logic background, so for me there was a big click during the Inner Awakening program. Seeing the coconut roll from my hand multiple times, it opened my consciousness, my awareness to the fact that there's a power, there's a oneness, and that led me into expressing the other power, like remote viewing, body scanning, and I'm in immense gratitude for this experience. Now living a new culture, a new lifestyle of the power of Sadhashiva. Thank you.
Nithyananda. My name is Nitin. I'm from Gurugram, India, and I'm a software engineer by profession. So one of the several powers that I experienced here is the consciousness over matter power, and it was just so effortless being able to move a coconut on my hand as well as on other people's hand, that it really impacted me in a big way. I got this realization that if I'm able to move an inanimate object like this, why will I not be able to move people, situations and obstacles in my life? So I'm really excited to take this with me and make this as a lifestyle for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji, for this gift. Nithyananda.